Good evening, students. Welcome back. We are again meeting for having an insightful, knowledge-filled discussion. And today again, the topic that we are going to deal with is very interesting and very much practical. So I'm sure you all will enjoy it again, like our previous topics. And more interestingly, it is not very technical, rather it is very practical. Practical does not mean the solving wala practical. Practical means having many real life examples, many real life, actual life situations. So that is what makes the topic even more connecting and even more uh, entertaining. So I'm sure we will have a great session or the series of sessions ahead for this topic of exemption. But before I can start with the module, let me first give you a brief, a basic conceptual part about exemption so that whatever we are discussing will be more meaningful when you yourself are studying for this particular topic. So as you know, the topic is exemption. But now the question is, what is exemption? So basically, students, exemption is a concept that you find always in case of a taxation law subject, because taxation law imposes, levies tax on you. However, there is one part in the subject of taxation which gives you relief, which gives you relaxation from paying this tax, which excludes you from paying the tax. That topic, that concept, that part in the taxation law is what is called as the exemption. So if I have to give you a flow, so the flow is like this. You should first see if there is a transaction, then check if the transaction fits to be a supply as per section 7, then whether this supply is liable to be taxed as per section 9 of CGST SGST Act. Now, after this, you check exemption. Now, only if the transaction is a supply covered under charging section and not covered in the exemption, then only it becomes a taxable supply, on which then you will proceed to compute the tax by finding out the rate, the value, the time of supply, etc. Right? So this is what we have covered. In fact, if you remember, after the basics, our very first chapter was supply only. Then after that, the next part which we discussed was the levy, where we discussed section 9 of C and S and section 5 of IGST. And in that chapter itself, we discuss the further parts, which was RCM, which was also composition scheme. And in order to decide whether you have to check section 5 of IGST or section 9 of CGST, you have to first determine whether your supply is interstate or intrastate. And for that, you have the place of supply. So this is how we proceed to determine the various aspects of GST topic. So with this brief introduction, let us start our today's subject, our today's topic. So yes, very good evening, Surinder, Karan, Vanshika, Navneet, Gaurav, Nisha, Samiran, Divya, Lohit, Dhanalakshmi, Pavan, Akhila, Soumya, Minu, Veerashri, Vaishnavi, Sridhar, Ananya, Purav, Ankita. Very good evening to all of you all. Yes, Kambira, Diksha, all of you all. A very warm welcome to our today's interesting topic of exemption. Now, before I start with the exemption, today I've decided I'll first go to the questions so that when you are studying the topic, you should have an idea as to what type of questions will be asked. So this makes our understanding or reading more focused, correct? So we'll first go to the last part of our topic where test your knowledge questions are asked, which are nothing but the reflection of how questions are asked in the exams. So see, first question is you have to discuss whether the statement given is correct or not. So what is the statement? Exempt supply means supply of goods, service or both which attracts nil rate of tax and which may be wholly exempt from tax but excludes non-taxable supply. Now this part will depend upon the definition, the concept of exempt supply given under the GST law. So answer for this will come from the definition, which will be our first part of discussion today. But this makes you understand that, okay, you have to understand the definition of exempt supply first. Then now they start with questions on specific exemptions because exemptions are provided to a specific case. So now case basis questions are asked. So services provided by an entity which is registered under 12AB and they are exempt from GST if such services are provided by way of charitable. Now this is what the exemption is. In fact, our very first exemption is this only. Now they are asking elaborate the term charitable activities. So again a theoretical question where you are supposed to learn and reproduce the charitable activities given in the law. Now after this, the other questions that we are going to see are all case study type. I may not call it as practical because if I'll say practical, you will feel it is calculation, but it is practical in the sense that these questions will require your interpretation of the exemption entries. For that, obviously, you have to understand and learn and remember them so that when such direct questions on particular exemption are asked, you should be able to decide. Now, what you are able to decide, examine which of the following independent services are exempt. Now, they have given some service by a hospital, they have given some service by a housing society. Again, similarly, discuss whether GST is payable. Now, when GST will be payable? When the supply is a taxable supply. So first, it should be a supply. Second, there should be levy. And third, it should not be exempt. Now, again, they are giving example of an individual is a referee in a football match, which is organized by some sports authority of India. So obviously, he is going to get some remuneration. So he gets a lump sum amount for being a referee. Now you have to decide whether this is liable to GST. Again, another example is a company manufactures a beauty soap which has the brand called as Forever Young. Now the company organized a concert to promote the brand and Miss Ahana Kapoor is the brand ambassador who is also a leading actress. Now she gives a classical dance performance in the concert as a brand ambassador and for this she gets rupees 1,20,000 as the fees. Now you have to determine whether Ahana Kapoor is required to pay GST or whether this classical dance performance done in this particular brand launching program is exempt. So now you will find from all these examples that there are specific exemption related questions whereby a particular case study type of question is given with respective facts of that case and you are supposed to determine whether that case is taxable or it is exempt. So this is how your questions will be. So there will be a few theory questions on some basic pointers which we are going to discuss and thereafter there will be practical questions where you are required to determine whether that case given is taxable or exempt. Now, we first start with some relevant definitions so that we have a thorough conceptual understanding of this concept. Now, what are the important definitions? So first, most important definition, we are talking about exemption chapter where the law has granted relief from paying tax to certain transactions. Now, these exemptions or these transactions which are exempted by the law by way of notification is what is covered in exempt supply, or something else is covered in exempt supply, that we have to understand. So what does the definition says? The term exempt supply has been defined as what? It is, firstly, it has to be a supply first. So first requirement is only a thing which is a supply can be further called as an exempt supply. So firstly, it should be a supply. Now there are three parts. One, where either the rate of tax is zero. So in the rate schedule, the rate given in front of that particular goods or service is zero, or which has been made wholly exempt. How? By way of notification, which is what we are going to study in this chapter, or which is a non-taxable supply. So nil, wholly exempt, or non-taxable. These three transactions, these three supplies are what are referred to as exempt supplies. Now we understand what is a nil rate, where the rate given in front of that name of goods or services zero or nil. Wholly exempt means we are going to now read a whole list, like how we had the RCM list, where names of certain services are given, certain conditions were given, and if you satisfied those conditions, then that service, the tax was payable by the recipient. Similarly, here we are going to read a list of various services with some conditions. If you satisfy them, then there is no tax payable on that service, because that service will be wholly exempt. So that we are going to study in this chapter. Now, what is a non-taxable supply? Again, the Act defines non-taxable supply. Means again a supply. So the definition of supply section 7 requirements are fulfilled. Now, which supply will be a non-taxable supply which is not leviable to tax? So basically, the tax is not levied. It means it is not falling in the levy section, which is section 9 for CNS and section 5 for IGST. In other words, the supply which do not satisfy the levy section. Now, if you see the levy section, what will not be falling in the levy section? First, all the 5 petroleum products, because they have been specifically kept outside levy for the time being, and alcoholic liquor and ENA. So these things are what are outside levy. Now, when you make a supply of these items, it will be called as a non-taxable supply, and non-taxable supply is also referred to as exempt supply. So these are the three supplies: nil, wholly exempt by notification, and non-taxable, which are regarded as exempt supply under GST. Fine, students? Now, there is a very good question by Manisha. Sir, is there a difference between a nil rated supply and a zero rated supply? So students, there is a very big difference between a nil rated and zero rated. See, nil means zero, but zero rated is a different concept. So when you get the term zero rated supply means some specific type of supplies, like whenever you are exporting or whenever you are selling to SEZs. These supplies have been called as zero rated supply by section 16 of IGST Act. Now, they are called as zero rated does not mean that their rate is zero. They are called as zero rated, which means their rate may be anything 5, 18, 40, whatever. But if you export them, if you sell them to SEZ, then we do not want tax on them. So we call those supplies as zero rated. So first point, Manisha, there is a big difference between nil rated and zero rated. So nil means zero, I agree, but zero rated does not means nil. That is what is very, very important. Further, what is non-taxable? So I already explained. Presently, 5 petroleum products, alcoholic liquor for human consumption, and rectified spirits, which is ENA. These are specifically kept outside the levy. So these are non-taxable. And now coming to your next question, exempt. So exempt means three types of supplies. One is nil rated, one which is given in the exemption list, which is the part of this topic, and third, which is non-taxable, that is those five petroleum products, alcoholic liquor for human consumption, and ENA. So these all together is called as exempt. But zero rated supply is not exempt. Zero rated may be a taxable supply, but because you are exporting them, we want to give you benefit because we want our country to make more exports. So we have called exports as zero rated. Ambira says, sir, meat is not mentioned in essential consumption. Meat also exempt, sir. But why is there a essential consumption and where we are talking about essential consumption, beta? Anil, beta, you are saying I'm confused between exempt and nil rated. See, beta, exempt is a bigger concept. So if I write like this, exempt supply is a bigger concept which includes three types of supplies. One is whose rate in the rate schedule is given as nil. Two, where there is a specific exemption given by way of including it in the exemption notification. And third, which is for the time being outside levy of GST, which is called as non-taxable. So even nil rated is exempt, even wholly exempt is exempt, and non-taxable is exempt. So these three type of supplies are commonly called as exempt. But alcohol is non-taxable, na? Gaurav? I have already said what does this covers? This covers five petroleum products, alcohol for human consumption, and ENA, that is rectified spirits. These three things are non-taxable. Now, when they are non-taxable, why will there be any rate? Why will even zero rate be given for them? They are outside GST. Khatam. You don't have to look at GST for them. Now, what is nil rated? I'll give you a few examples. They are given later on in our module also. So again, goods, services. When you'll find this in case of goods, where the rate for raw agricultural produce. Now, somebody was asking meat. So if it is raw meat, raw milk, raw agricultural produce, they are all kept in nil rated or zero rated. Correct, students? Sir, can we say that exempt supplies outside the scope of GST? Not at all. Not at all. It is very much in GST. Manisha, then you are missing my first line. What is my first line? Transaction, supply, levy, and then exemption. In fact, the definition of exempt supply itself says that it is first a supply, and which type of supply? One of these. Correct? So now let me add one line over here. Transaction, which is no supply. Now, which is no supply is not called as exempt supply, because for being called as exempt supply, it has to be firstly a supply. If a transaction is no supply, right on the other side. So a transaction can be a no supply also. Why? Because it is not satisfying one of the conditions of supply. Then you will neither check levy, you will neither check exemption. Why? No need. It is anyways outside GST. What is a supply has to be then checked whether it is fitting in levy. And if it is fitting in levy, then check whether it is fitting in exemption. But if it is no, sir, what about money and securities? Money and securities are neither goods nor service. So it is no supply, Akila. And once it is no supply, khatam, tata, bye bye, over. Yes, Kambira, you're right. So then packing, unpacking is a condition. You're right. Gauravs. So nil rate come in GST, but exempt. Beta, again, Gaurav, what I'm saying is all exempt supplies are firstly supply. So they are part of GST. But for the timing, you don't pay tax. Right? So it is like, for example, there is a school where there are different students who have joined. But for a few students, the school says we will not take fees from you. But they are still part of school. So similarly, exempt supplies are those transactions which are part of GST law. GST law also applies to exempt supply. In fact, when you go to further chapters like ITC returns, you'll find you have to compulsorily show exam supply for books and returns, and you also have to prepare invoice, and then even ITC chapter has very big impact because of exam supplies. So please don't say exam supply is outside GST. It is those students in the school to whom the school says we are giving you relaxation in fees. You don't pay the fees for whatever reason, but still you are part of the school. So similarly, exempt supplies are also part of the GST law. They are very much within the purview of GST, but only no tax has to be paid for the time being. Tomorrow, if the government wants, they can change. They can remove the nil rate or they can remove it from the exemption list. You have to start paying tax. So obviously, Navneet, we know this. So now let us not go back to the definition of goods and service. गौरव यू आर राइट सो जीएसटी एप्लीकेबल है उस पे मगर फिलहाल उसके ऊपर आपको टैक्स नहीं पे करना है दैट इज व्हाट इज एग्जाम Maithili, please don't mix between registered and unregistered users. Nil rated has nothing to do with registered and unregistered. Registration will come after this. Now in this sequence, after you reach this point, then you will see the registration part, right beta? Fine, students. I hope everything up to this point is clear. Everybody done with the basic introductory part on supply and the concepts relating to supply and exempt supply and the difference between nil rated and non-taxable. All these are covered under the category of exempt supply. But within exempt supply, these are the three types of supplies which are exempt. Correct? Should we proceed? Okay. Now, what are the different types or categories within exemption? Now, first, either exemption could be for certain transactions or exemption could be for certain suppliers of that particular service or goods, or exemption could be to certain recipient or a mix of this. So what are the different types of exemption? First, where they say this service is exempt irrespective of who is providing the service. Correct? So we'll see that later. So there are certain transactions where they simply say, like here they have given example, कि भाई selling a business which is a going concern is exempt. Correct? Loading, unloading, packing, unpacking of rice is exempt. Who does it? Makes no difference. Whether it is done by farmer, whether it is done by a company, makes no difference. Similarly, who receives this service, whether it is received by a registered person, unregistered person, a company, an individual, makes no difference. So where supplier recipient is not making difference, it is the transaction which is given exemption. However, there are certain exemptions where it is given to a particular supplier, like where government is doing certain specific services. Those services done by government is exempt, or services done by trust who are registered under this section is exempt. So here the exemption is dependent upon who the supplier is. Similarly, for certain cases, exemption is dependent upon who the recipient is. Example, in some cases where government is the recipient, they don't have to levy tax. Means the supplier does not have to levy tax because that transaction is exempt. So in some cases, the recipient is the deciding factor of exemption. This you will understand when you go to different exemptions. And then there are mixed cases where the supplier is also important. Maybe the recipient is also important. Maybe the transaction is also important. So then there are mixed cases. In fact, majority of exemptions are falling in the mixed category. Now, before I start reading the exemption, the point is, how does exemption comes in the law? So we have the act and we have the rules. I hope by now you understand this. Now, act is made by parliament. and rules is made by the executive government. Now, similar to rules, you have something called as notifications and you have something called as circulars. This is made by the board, who is right now CBIC for indirect taxes. Again, notifications are made or passed by the government. Now, all these things, in this, what is supreme is the act. For doing everything, act has the power. So either act will itself do it, or act will give its powers to rules, to notifications, or it will give powers to give circulars. Means what? The supreme authority is the act. Now, when you studied supply, we did not read any rule, notification, circular. Why? Because supply was defined by the act. Yes, for certain no supply transactions, they said that you read some notifications and circulars, which we studied. Similarly, when we studied place of supply, we entirely studied the act because act has not given the power to any rule notification to define supply, to define place of supply. All these things are given only in act. But when you come to exemptions, what we are going to study in this chapter, act has given the power to the executive government to give you exemption. How this power is given? This power is given by way of section 11 of the C or SGST Act. So this section of the Act has transferred the power to the government. So government will be empowered or will be the deciding person ki what should be exempt, what should be taxable. Now this is how you come to section 11. Now you will see that we are reading the act, the law, and it says that the government is satisfied that this item should be exempt. So the government, by giving a notification, can exempt. Correct? So government is given the power to grant the exemption. I hope this is clear to all. So this is what I was explaining just now. Now, there are two types of exemptions. First is the exemption may be absolute or it may be conditional. Now, what is absolute exemption and what is conditional exemption? Absolute exemption means healthcare is exempt, full stop. Conditional exemption is healthcare is exempt if the doctor does or does not do like this. Only then healthcare is exempt. Means the exemption is dependent upon the satisfaction of some condition, which that one of the parties has to do or not do, so that the party will become eligible for exemption is called as a conditional exemption. So where in order to get the exemption, you have to satisfy some conditions. That exemption is called as conditional. And where that simply says healthcare exempt, education exempt, agriculture exempt. So you may not satisfy any condition to get the exemption. The law says it is exempt, so it is exempt. So it is absolute. Now, where it is absolute, you do not have a choice. You cannot say, no, I don't want exemption, I will pay the tax. But where it is conditional, you have the choice that no, I don't want exemption, I will pay tax. How? Simply don't satisfy the condition. Anyways, the exemption would be given if you satisfy the condition. If you don't satisfy the condition, automatically the exemption will not be given. Automatically it will be taxable. Correct? Yes, Divya, you are correct. So condition is attached to the exemption, that is that exemption entry, that exemption point. So it becomes a conditional exemption. And wherever there is a conditional exemption, you don't have to pay the tax. Is this clear, students? So two types of exemption. See, these are the various theoretical points where you may get a question. So that is why I'm explaining them, so that you should be thorough and clear with all these pointers. Because you may get a question, a theoretical or a conceptual question on this. Okay? Everybody clear? Anybody, any questions, students? See, Maithili, it is not about fully or partly. Both exemptions can be fully or partly. It is about exemption is given 100% times or exemption is given depending upon fulfillment of conditions. Like, for example, in schools, there are some rules. What are the rules? You have to be present in the class before 9. Now, this is the rule. So, this is absolute, right? Then there are certain rules where they say that on this particular day, you may wear the school dress or you may wear the sports dress. Now, this is an optional type of a thing. So that is what is the difference. Absolute means no conditions, no ifs and buts. It is exempt. You cannot pay tax. Conditional means I have put some conditions that, okay, like if the first Saturday is this, then you will wear this type of a thing. If the first week, let us say first day of the week is falling on Saturday, you will wear this type of dress, or else you will wear this type of dress. So it is conditional. When is the first day of the week falling? Which day? So let us say if the first day of the, let us say the school makes a rule, if the first day of the week falls on Monday, Wednesday or Friday, you will wear school dress, school uniform. But if it falls on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you will wear sports uniform. Now this becomes conditional, right? Absolute means you have to wear school uniform. You have to be before 9 in the class. That is absolute. So obviously Dhanlakshmi, absolute means exemption without condition. And that is why it is compulsory. You are not given a choice. Conditional automatically becomes optional. Why? You don't want exemption, don't fulfill the condition. Automatically there will be no exemption. So it becomes optional. Correct, Gaurav. Yes, Dhanlakshmi. Maithili, you can say so. Nisha, in absolute exemption, we don't have to pay tax because we are talking about exemptions. So when I say it is absolutely exempt or it is an absolute exemption, Nisha, it means I don't have to pay tax. Correct? Perfect. Great. Understood by all? Clear? Types of exemptions. Now, then there is something called as a special exemption. Now, what is the difference? So see, one categorization of exemption is absolute and conditional. Another categorization is it a general exemption or is it a special exemption? If it is a general exemption, it will be given by way of a notification. If it is a special exemption, it will be given by way of an order. Now you'll say, sir, what is the difference between general and special? General means it applies to anyone who fits in the exemption conditions or who fits in the exemption requirement. Special means it will apply only to some special persons, maybe one or two persons only. So where exemptions are given to a particular person, okay, Vishal Poddar is exempt from paying GST. That will be special exemption and it has to be given by passing a special order. But if they say like lawyers or CS do not unfortunately have exemption, but lawyers have exemption. So lawyer means whoever is lawyer will get exemption. So it is general. So it is not by any person specific. If I say that Vishal Poddar will get exemption, then it is a special exemption which has to be given by passing a special order, which is very rare because then there will be a lot of allegations on government that you are trying to favor a particular person, etc. But still, the government has the power to give special exemptions to a specific person. So over there, a particular entity's name is given. Like let us say, I will say ISRO is exempt. So where the name is given of that person, if this person is exempt, that is what is special person, a special exemption, right? So same point is given what was given in subsection 1. Government is satisfied that it is necessary in the public interest on the recommendation of council shall by special order in each case, because this will be person to person or case to case and under circumstances of very exceptional nature. So it has to be very exceptional circumstances, then only you can give this exemption. Otherwise, people will blame you that you are doing favoritism to a particular person, right? That is why this is very rare. But the government has the power, right? Now, what is the third part? Now, the third part is after you have given the above exemption, which is generally by notification, that is general. At times, it may be by order, that is special. Whatever exemption you have given, at times there are some confusions in that. Confusions relating to what the scope, the applicability. So, like for example, you give exemption for agriculture. Now there is a confusion. What is a confusion? Sir, I am running a nursery, plants. I sell plants. So I grow plants in some pots or in some plastic bags and I sell them. Whether what I'm doing is agriculture. Now this is a confusion about the scope or applicability. Now subsection 3 again gives power to the government. Key, whatever exemption you have given either by notification or order, if there has some confusion in that, you may clarify those confusions. How? By adding an explanation in the same notification or order. So the notification which you had issued giving the exemption, in that you can add some explanation. Like how here in the law itself, there is some explanation added. Why? Because something is not clear from this section or subsection, so they want to clarify it. So wherever a clarification is required, because something is not clear, something is creating a confusion, that is always clarified by adding an explanation. Now, explanation can be added right from start, like this explanation is there right from start. Or at times, if in future people come up with a lot of questions, lot of queries, so government comes to know कि नहीं बाबा, people are having lot of confusion with this, so later on they may add explanation. Now interestingly, if this explanation is added later on, now this is a very important point which you need to keep in mind. If the explanation is added later on, the question is from which date it will apply. So for this, I'll give you an example. So I will say original exemption issued on 14 Feb 2026. So on 14 Feb, the government gave an exemption saying that flowers, even though decorative flowers or even though flowers which are given in the form of very beautiful bouquets, all will be exempt. Let us say, I'm just giving an example. Now this exemption is given on 14th Feb, obviously by issuing a notification. Now after this, lot of confusion comes because people are not understanding flowers means what type of flowers, flowers only in bouquet form or flowers like what you get directly in the market where the flowers are not put in bouquet form, or flowers which are used for other special purposes like where garlands of flower is made, whether garlands are also covered or not. So there is confusion. Now government decides to clarify and clear this confusion. So how it will do it? By adding an explanation. So what it will do? It will revise the original notification in which this exemption is given. In that only, they will revise it and they will add an explanation. Now, important is the date of explanation. So I'm taking two possibilities, possibility one, possibility two. Possibility one is January 2027. First possibility, this explanation is added on this date. Second possibility, it is added on 15th of August 2026. Now, what is important is this is after 1 year of the date of original notification, and this is within 1 year. Correct? Now, what is the difference? This particular date of adding the explanation is important because this will decide from which date the explanation will be applicable. So if the explanation is added after 1 year, explanation will be applicable. retrospectively. What it means? It means from the date when this was added in this example, 25th March 27. But if it was added within 1 year, explanation will be applicable retrospectively. Means what? In this case, it will be applicable from the original date. That is what is the meaning of retrospectively. So you go back to the original date. So the rule given here is that if this notification is added within 1 year of the original notification or order, then it will be treated as if this explanation was always the part of the first notification, that is the original notification. In short, it is applicable retrospectively. But if it is given within 1 year of the original notification. But if the explanation is added later after 1 year, it will apply from the date when this explanation was added. Like some individual type or some specific job or goods means to specific. Okay, fine. I hope students subsection 3 is clear. So now this is all what is explained below. Types of exemption. One is absolute, one is conditional. Then there are again two types of exemption. One is general, which is applicable to everyone, and special, which is applicable only to that person for whom that special notification is given. Absolute notifications are compulsory. Conditional notifications are optional. And then the point of explanation. So if it is inserted within 1 year, it applies from original date. If it is inserted after 1 year, it will apply from the date when it is inserted. Fine, students? Yes, Nisha, madam.
Sir, this means explanation we give for notification and order.
बेटा
This,
एक्सप्लेनेशन क्या है समझो. आपने ओरिजिनल लॉ बना दिया, पर वो लॉ से रिलेटेड लोगों को कंफ्यूजन है कि इसमें ये आएगा या नहीं आएगा. अब वो कंफ्यूजन को क्लैरिफाई आप कैसे करते हो? आप एक्सप्लेनेशन देते हो. एक्सप्लेनेशन का मतलब ही क्या है? आप उसको एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हो, जिसमें आप क्या लिखते हो? इट इज क्लैरिफाइड दैट दिस इज इंक्लूडेड इन द एग्जम्पशन. तो आपने एक एक्सप्लेनेशन दिया, एक क्लैरिफिकेशन दिया कि हम इसे एक्सप्लेनेशन में इंक्लूड कर रहे हैं. समझ में आया? सो
yes,
दैट इज
sir.
व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ एक्सप्लेनेशन.
Sir, these means means in notification and order we studied to journal and special. Under this
करेक्ट.
we give clarification that
करेक्ट बेटा.
this
आप
item is coming in this.
exactly, you give clarification कि this item will come or will not come under this. So you give that explanation, you give that clarification, which is called as explanation.
Okay, okay, sir.
ठीक है?
Yes.
Yes, Maithili.
Yes, sir. I'm not understand your example of 25th March 27 is prospectively applicable and 15th August is retrospectively. That not understand, sir. Please
So you
explain me.
understood this, that I brought that exemption on this date. So the
Yes, sir.
notification was passed on this date, correct?
Yes, sir.
So on this date, I gave an exemption saying that flowers which are arranged in a decorative format are exempt. Now, I got a lot of queries. People started saying, sir, whether bouquet will be exempt, whether garlands will be exempt, because you arrange flowers in bouquet also, you arrange flowers in garlands also, right?
Yes, sir.
Then I said, okay, let me clarify this. How I clarified? I added an explanation saying that even bouquets and garlands will also be covered in this exemption. So I clarified positively, saying that yes, it will also be covered, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, on which date did I add this explanation? First possibility is 25th March 2027, which is after 1 year from this date, correct?
Yes, sir.
So if it is after 1 year, then whatever I have said in the explanation, that will apply from this date only. That is the date on which explanation was added, not from the original date. Means from the original date, this is the original date of notification. It will not apply from this date. It will apply from today. Today, that is a date when this explanation was added. Because it
Okay,
is added.
then this, yes, so then this explanation will be amended, or it will be further, it will be activated from 25th March 2027, correct, sir?
Correct. So
Okay.
let us say, again, I'll give you an example. You have joined the CA course. Now let us say CA course announce a scholarship, right?
Yes, sir.
And you are not clear whether you are fitting in the scholarship. So you keep on paying the fees. Let us assume our fees is monthly or quarterly. So you keep on paying the fees, but you did not get the clarity whether you are covered in that scholarship or not. So people like you, many students write a letter to the institute asking for clarification. So institute gives a clarification saying that, okay, you are covered. You are also covered, for example, in the scholarship, right? But this
Yes, sir.
explanation is given from this date. Now, what is the meaning of this? Whatever fees you have been paying from this date to this date, that is correct. You have to pay it because the explanation is given after 1 year. So it will apply for the next period after the later period, right? It will not
Yes,
apply
sir.
to the earlier period. But if the institute gives explanation on this date, which is within 1 year from the original date, then whatever fees you have already paid from 14th Feb onwards, that will be refunded because now in this case, the explanation covers even the previous period. From which date? From the date of original notification. This is what is the meaning of retrospectively.
Okay, so in the option 2, 15th August, the explanation will be given, but the applicability of this explanation will be 14th Feb
This is the
2026.
original date of
In that case,
notification. So they are
okay.
saying if we give
15,
explanation
120.
within 1 year, it applies from the original date. If we give explanation after 1 year, it will apply from the later date.
Okay, sir. But in this case, no mandatory in after 1 year or within 1 year. It is not mandatory.
That is the
Mandatory.
difference. Na? There can be two possibilities. Law cannot say we will give it in 1 year only. There is a possibility that it may give after 1 year. Law is basically saying from when this will apply. So if it is given within 1 year, it will apply from original date. If it is given
Okay,
after 1 year, it will apply from the later date.
okay, sir. Understood. Thank you, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
This is a very important point, students. So please make a note. This may come as a question, maybe a theory question or a case study type of question. Right?
Yes, sir.
Now, now there are two types of supplies. One is supply of goods, one is supply of service. Now, importantly, pay attention. Okay, Divya is asking, sir, will the example of flowers be special or general? Chalo, you all tell me. The example of flowers which I gave, is it a general exemption or a special exemption? You can write G for general, you can write S for special. Everyone is 100% correct. It is general. Why? Because did I name that when Vishal Poddar is selling flowers, that is exempt? No. So when I'm not giving it with a person's or with a case, like let us say Sachin Tendulkar Schumacher gifted a Ferrari to Sachin Tendulkar, which Sachin Tendulkar imported. So only that one case is given exemption. That is special. But if anybody importing Ferrari is given exemption, that is general. So where it is restricted to one person or one case, it is special. Clear, beta? Yes, Harshal, you can say so. Now when we talk about exemption for goods, this is, you can say, fortunately not in your syllabus, so you need not learn or remember the list. But if I have to give you some general uh, examples, so you have to just keep in mind that items which are used by common man, in day-to-day. Like, now this is very important. It should be unbranded and unpacked. What raw items? You purchase atta, you purchase maida, besan, or you purchase unpacked food grains like milk, egg, curd, meat, all these in raw form. They are exempt. Then some specific goods which the government wants, whether it is in raw form or it is in finished form, like Indian national flag, some plastic bangles. So these are some examples. There are hundreds of items which are exempt, but it is not part of your syllabus. So just you are given the overview, but there will be a list of 100 of items. So exemption for goods, not part of your syllabus. Services is the part of your syllabus. So you have to study and remember the list of services. Now, since these are all general exemptions, none are special, hence they are given by way of notification. Try to remember the number, at least, if not the date. So we are going to study against CGST, SGST Act exemption notification. So it is notification number 12/2017 CTR. CTR is Central Tax Rate. Similarly, you have the IGST Act notification also. Correct? Now, these are applicable to you. So you have to learn and remember them. Now we start with the exemption entries. Now, till now, some part was technical. From here, everything is real life scenarios. So I will request you all to visualize, take real life examples around you to understand. Now, this I like very much about our module. What our module has done, it has made categories. Why? You'll find that there are 100 plus exemption entries. Entries means like how you call serial number. Here it is called as entry number. Now these are different, not in sequence in the notification. But what our module has beautifully done, it has made it at one place for a same type of category. So now first category is charitable and religious activities. Now we understand charitable as something that you do free. Now please remember students, if anything is done free, anyways it is not a supply. If it is not a supply, why to read exemption notification? Because if you remember, I started today with that there has to be a transaction. The transaction is a supply first. The supply is covered in levy, and then you check the exemption. If this transaction or any transaction, like we also keep on doing charity where we donate certain things to some institutions or we do something for someone out of love, affection, out of care, out of the feeling of generosity, but then we are not getting anything back. That is what we call charity, correct? But then is it a supply? Answer is no. So if you are helping out someone, let us say you are doing somebody's, there is some old person in your society, and every day you go and do the cleaning of their house, cleaning of their utensils, you give them some oil massage every day. Will it be a taxable supply? Will it be covered in the definition of supply itself? Answer is no. But what you are doing is a charitable, a generous activity. But is it a supply in the first place? No. Why? Because there is no consideration. And if you remember, we studied levy where it was said that there are 4 requirements to complete a levy. 1, there has to be a supply. 2nd, it should be of good service. 3rd, it should be against consideration. And 4th, it should be in the course of business. Now, many of these conditions are not satisfied in my example. Now, in such cases, there is no supply which is taxable. So why will it be exempt? There is no need to give exemption by the government because anyways, it is not covered in supply and levy itself. So for such cases, there is no need of any exemption. Now comes the main point. So then what is covered over here? Here, activities of charitable trust are covered. Pay attention. But those activities are not done free by them. The charitable trust who are doing this, or the organizations who are doing this, are charging for that activity. Then only it is firstly a supply. Now, since it is a supply, now the government felt that no, but we do not want to tax them because their intention is charitable. Their intention is NPO. So such activities they have covered here. Now, what are the different entries which are covered here? So one is entry number 1, other is entry number 13, entry number 60 and 80. So there are 4 different entries. As you can see in the original notification, they are at such wide distance, but beautifully our module has brought them at one place, where at least you will know that these are the 4 entries related to charitable or religious bodies. Now, what are the specific requirements? So they are saying services done by those bodies. I'm using the word bodies because that is common word that we use in accounts also. Here now they have used the word entity. So an entity who is doing some service. Now there are 2 important conditions. First, the entity should be registered under this section of which act? Income Tax Act. Now this section covers what? It covers charitable or religious trust. So when you read income tax in this section, you will find who are covered. Only those entities or bodies are covered who are working as a charitable or religious trust. So first condition is you should be registered under these sections of the Income Tax Act, because GST Act has no such registration of charitable trust, but Income Tax Act has. So our act has referred to Income Tax Act and said that you should have been registered as a charitable or religious trust as per Income Tax Act. And second, most important, not all of your activities are exempt. Only those activities which fit in the definition of charitable activities, only they are exempt. So 2 conditions or 2 requirements for this exemption. 1, you are registered as a trust as per income tax provisions. 2, what you are doing is a charitable activity. Now first I'll give you example of what are the entities which are registered as a trust under section 12A or AB of the Income Tax Act. So first example of religious trust. You go to any temple, you go to any mosque, you go to any church, you go to any gurudwara, all these are registered. If you go and check, you will find the name of some trust written. Either it may be written as a trust or a devasthanam or something, but it is registered. The entities, whenever you give them donation and they give you receipt, see what is the name given, and in the bracket they write trust registered as per this is this. So this is the example of religious trust. Second example, which I'm going to give you, is charitable trust. Many examples. So you go to an orphanage, you go to a old age care home. Many of these, 90% of them are registered as a trust. Which trust? Charitable trust. Correct? So these are 2 real life examples of what is a religious trust, what is a charitable trust. Now, please keep one thing in mind. Whatever they are doing free, we are not talking about them. I already clarified this, because whatever they are doing free is anyways outside GST, because it is not a supply under section 7 leviable to tax under section 9. So no question of discussing exemption. But what they are doing by charging, like I gave you example of old age home. So there are many old age homes who charge, because there are many people who cannot take care of their parents, maybe for the reason of their job or employment at some other place, whatever. So they keep their old parents or the old senior people in these old age homes, but the old age homes are charging them some amount. So this is the example where what they are doing is covered under charitable activity. Why? Because their nature of activity or their purpose is called as charitable. So our first condition is they should be registered as a charitable body or charitable entity under 12A, 12 or 12AB of the Income Tax Act. So I give you example of this. Now, they are doing many activities. So you have many associations for the blind people. You have many associations for the physically challenged people. So there are so many associations, organizations. In fact, I'll tell you one more thing. Many of your schools and colleges are also registered as a trust. Which trust? Education trust. Now, so they are registered. So they are satisfying the first condition. What is that? They are a charitable or religious trust as per 12AA or AB of the Income Tax Act. So I gave you practical examples of them. Now, not all of their activities are exempt. Only those activities which fall in the definition of charitable activities is exempt. Now, what is charitable activity? That is again defined in the notification itself. Now, the notification that is 12/2027, that is the, let us call it as the exemption notification, which we are studying, defines charitable activities. Now, only these activities which are defined over here as charitable are only exempt. Now, what they say, the term charitable activities means activities which are relating to. First, what is the first type of activity? Public health. But how? Not by doing operations and all, because that is what is covered by hospital. Let me tell you, students, again, hospitals also 50% of them are trust, right? But they are not getting exemption over here. Why? Because there is a different exemption entry which we are going to study later. So that is why they are not covered here. Now here, what type of public health is covered? So you are not doing any operation. Only what you are doing is you are doing care or counseling. Of whom? Of those people who are terminally ill with severe physical or mental disability. So you will find there are many trusts. Again, see, people where they themselves cannot take care of their family members who are either physically disabled, like maybe they may be completely blind, or they may have a very severe some disease, or they are mentally challenged. So let us say any of the family member is having any of these problems. So there are special places where you can keep your family members. Obviously, it is on charging basis. It is not done free. But whatever they are charging for taking care of your family members or doing their counseling is what is exempt. Second, what type of public health activities they are doing? They are again doing care counseling for whom? For people who are infected or afflicted with AIDS, HIV, AIDS. Third, who are addicted to dependence forming substance. So I will give you the name. It is called as Nasha Mukti Kendra. If you have seen the movie Sanju, in that movie, it was shown that Sanjay Dutt, when he was completely drug addict, he goes to a foreign country. His parents, dad takes him to a foreign country. I don't remember whether it was US, UK, which country. I think it was US, where they take him to a place where he is admitted. Now, they are not going to give any treatment or anything, but their activity is care counseling. So they show that they make them dance, they do their counseling, they make them play, so that they are able to get out of their habit of drugs. So such organizations, such associations, activities are falling in this particular list, and nothing is done free by them. They charge for this, but that is what is given exemption over here. Okay, what about donating large amount? Anjali, beta, whether it is amount is large or small, donation is no supply because there is nothing you are getting in return. So there is no question of large or small. Yes, Manisha, rehabilitation center. So you have different types of rehabilitation center for people with drugs, people having habits of alcohol consumption, people having habits of tobacco, chewing or smoking. So for them, you have various rehabilitation centers. So the one who are addicted to dependence forming substance. Now, I'm sure you all would be knowing this. Earlier, people used to be addicted for this. Now there is even a bigger and more serious threat of addiction. You know what? And very soon, rather not very soon, it has already happened, happening around us. We have now special rehabilitation centers for people who are totally either, addicted to mobile phones or addicted to social media, where they are not able to keep themselves away from that. That is where maybe our exemption will add that particular word later on. Right now, it is not there in our exemption entry. Nisha beta, we are discussing the third part only. Now, which third part you are asking about? I am continuously explaining and discussing the third part only with you all. Right? Now we come to B part. Now in B, what you are doing? Now you are not doing any care or counseling. You are creating public awareness of what? Family planning, how to prevent HIV. So again, there are many organizations who work in creating awareness. Now they are hired by companies where companies pay them so that they can do this type of program in the company for the workers, or some government bodies hire them that they want them to go to smaller villages and educate people about family planning or preventive health or how to prevent HIV. So all these NGOs, we call them as NGOs, they charge for this work, but their work is exempt because it is covered in this exemption entry. Then you have those organizations, what they do? They do advancement of religion, spirituality. We have n number of examples of this. So Baba Ramdev's Patanjali Trust is doing what? Advancement of yoga. Then there are many religious organizations who are doing advancement of their religion. Then for spirituality, you have so many, like you have Isha Foundation of Sri Sadguru, or you have Art of Living of Sri Gurudev, Ravi Shankarji. There are so many examples of trust who are into advancement of religion, spirituality, or yoga. Now, whenever they do it free, no question of checking this exemption, because anyways it is not a supply. But many times they charge for their courses. So you will find that there are many courses for which these all trusts, they charge you. Like for Art of Living course, like for Sadhguru's that re-engineering course, there is a charge. But that is what is exempt over here. Correct? Sir, in list of exam, the more entries, it May 26 amendment entry 36 introduced for May 26 exam. So it is applicable. So beta, whatever is introduced for May 26 has to be applicable for September 26. No? So anyways, in fact, more will be added later on. So if it is added for May, it is definitely applicable for September. Digital Detox Center. Yes, it is already started, Manisha. What are CSOs, Karma beta? I don't know what is CSO. Yes, Nikunj, Vipassana Dhyan Kendra is covered here. Karma beta, donations are not part of GST because there is no supply involved. So whether you raise donation for this purpose or any purpose, it is outside GST. निशा बेटा, डिपेंडेंस फॉर्मिंग सब्सटेंस मतलब जिसकी आपको आदत पड़ जाती है, जैसे ड्रग्स की आदत पड़ती है ना, लोगों को स्मोकिंग की आदत पड़ती है, तो सब्सटेंस क्या है जिसके ऊपर आपका डिपेंडेंस आ रहा है? वो है ड्रग्स, वो है सिगरेट, वो है तंबाकू. दैट इज व्हाट इज डिपेंडेंस फॉर्मिंग सब्सटेंस. और आज की तारीख में आप सबके लिए हो गया मोबाइल फोन, काफी लोगों के लिए हो गया सोशल मीडिया, उसमें से भी पर्टिकुलर एप्स. Hospital, Sridhar, is not covered here. So even if a trust NGO is running hospital, it is not covered here. But don't worry, they are exempt because there is a separate entry, Sridhar, right? But it is not covered here. See, so far as if they are only doing care, it is covered. But that also only of these people, not all. See, hospital may be treating everyone. Even for minor problems also it is treating. So it is not covered here. Here only who are covered, who are terminally ill, very severely ill, or who are having AIDS, or who are addicted to drugs and all. Only they are covered. So remaining things are not covered. But don't worry, hospitals run by anyone, private hospital or government hospitals or run by trust, are not covered here. Why? Because there is a separate whole entry for their exemption. Akila, it is not awareness. It is again a type of a program which is run for creating forest and greenery. But right now here, forest and greenery is not covered. But again, there is a separate entry which will cover it. Meditation centers are included because spirituality includes meditation, right? Yoga also includes meditation. So they are covered here. Now, what else these trusts are doing that are exempt? So now they are running some educational programs or skill development, but not for everyone. So if trust is running a school, college, it is not covered here because firstly, it is not educational program, it is education. But when they run these educational or skill development programs for whom? For abandoned or orphan or homeless children. So we all understand orphan means anath. Abandoned or homeless means children whose parents are not known or children who get lost somewhere. So they are abandoned or homeless children. So for them, there are trusts who give them skill training. So at least they get trained to do their work themselves and earn money. Or when they are doing skill development program for physically or mentally abused or a traumatized person. Now again, what is physically abuse or mentally abuse? So means again people who are having some physical problems. Then there are many organizations who give skill training to prisoners. So you'll be seeing in movies that many times the prisoners are made to do certain type of work. Maybe that may be a furniture work, that may be some painting work. So they are taught that so that at least they earn something while they are in prison and later on also they can live a respectable life. Or they are doing the skill development program for senior citizens. Who is senior here? Aged more than 65 years and residing in rural area. So where any trust is running any of these type of programs, it will be eligible for exemption. Then comes those trusts who are into preservation of what? Environment, water bodies, forest, wildlife. So you remember some years back we had that Save the Tiger. Prior to that, we had Save Forest. Then we had Plant One Tree, like somebody just gave example, maybe on your birthday or your parents' birthday, you plant a tree. So all these are the activities which are covered in protection of environment. Government rehabilitation centers are included. We discussed that. John, I have not seen that movie, so I cannot comment on that. So I don't know what is there in Tare Zameen Par 2. No idea. Yes, Neetu Singh, you need not learn the entry numbers compulsorily, but if you can remember at least the important ones, it will be great. Because see, whenever you write in law, you have to give the reference as to which section, which number you are referring. So if you can remember, fine. If not, it is not compulsory at interlevel. Fine. So don't worry, even if you're not able to remember it 100%. Fine. Now, there are some queries as to whether hostel accommodation given by trust will be covered over here. So please remember, we have read the list of charitable activities. It does not cover accommodation. So it is not covered over here. Again, whether religious yatra or pilgrimage are covered, again, it is also not covered here. There is again a specific entry which we are going to read later on, this entry. In that entry, like entry number 60, which we are going to study, there is a specific reference, but it is not covered in charitable trust. That is the entry which we are reading now. Then meditation camps organized by charitable, we just discussed. So all these yoga camps, meditation camps, they are covered under this entry and hence they are eligible for exemption. Obviously, we are assuming these are chargeable. If they are free, no question. Anyways, they are out of supply. Anyways, there is no GST, right? Similarly, there are some residential programs or camp where the fees charged and it includes cost of staying, food, etc. That will also be exempt. Why? If you have joined some yoga course. So it is a residential course. So you have to go and stay there for a week. But it is either for spirituality or yoga or religion. Then even though it is covering lodging, boarding, that is also exempt. So these are some clarifications. So you have to read these clarifications also, which are given in the module. Then this question comes whether hospitals are covered. I already told you they are not covered under this entry. Why? Because you have a separate entry for hospitals. So over there, we'll be studying the hospital part in detail, but hospitals are not covered here, right? Okay. Then comes another query that whether services given to charitable trust are covered in the exemption. They are not covered in the exemption entry here. Means what? Here, what the trust is giving to outsiders, that is what is covered. What the trust is receiving service, that is not covered. So please be clear. Only here activities done by the trust are covered, not activities received by the trust are covered. So if you are giving some service to the trust, that is not covered. But where trust is giving it to outsiders and it is falling in the list of charitable activities, those are covered. Fine, students. So now let us go to other entry. So this was only the first entry. Now we come to entry number 13. Now what it covers? It covers services by a person by way of conduct of religious ceremony. Now, what is this conduct of religious ceremony? So, example is, in all our families, whatever religion you follow, there are different types of religious ceremonies at the time of birth of a child, at the time of the child attaining a particular age, or at the time of marriage, or at the time of death. So we have different types of religious functions, let us say, we call them as functions. So they are religious ceremonies. Now, these ceremonies are conducted by a person called as priest or father or Maulana ji, right? So they are the ones who conduct these prayers for you. They are the one who conducts that particular ritual for you. That is what is covered over here in the exemption. So where this person conducts a religious ceremony for you, and obviously you charge, they pay, you pay to them some dakshina, that is their fees for conducting that religious ceremony. That is what is exempt in this. Now here we again have a definition of religious ceremony. So they have defined what type of ceremonies are covered here or what are the conditions for them. So what it says, religious ceremonies exempt. Now, what are religious ceremonies? Religious ceremonies are life cycle rituals, including special religious pujas, which are conducted as per your religious text. So we have different types of pujas, prayers, and different types of ceremonies. And these are done because they are written in our religious text. And they are authorized by your religious text. Now, when these may be happening at the time of birth, marriage, death, etc. Correct? So we perform various types of pujas at home. We perform abhishekas, we perform havanas. All these are covered here. So whatever charges you pay to the panditji, to the priest, that is what is, yes, even baby shower will be covered. So if you have any religious, yes, housewarming is covered because you perform some puja. So whenever you are performing a puja, which is prescribed by your religious text, and it is conducted by a person who is authorized to do that as per your religious text. So generally it is the Maulana ji, the father, the priest, the Pandit ji. So they are the ones who are authorized to do this. So when you get it done from them, any type of puja, havan, that is what is covered. So yes, housewarming is also covered. Good example. Now coming to the next entry in 13. So this was first in 13. So that is different types of puja parts, etc. Now what is the second part in 13? Now here it says that you are a trust. Again, which trust? The same one. Charitable or religious trusts are registered as per the Income Tax Act. And you are giving on rent your premises. Now when you are giving on rent your premises, it will be exempt. What will be exempt? The rent that you earn. But then there is some restriction. What it says? What will not be covered is where you are giving rooms on rent. So now renting is exempt, but when you are giving rooms on rent and the per day charge is 1,000 or more, it is not exempt, it is taxable. Similarly, if you are giving any hall, kalyana mandapam, so for conducting different types of ceremonies like birth rituals or marriage, you give the premises, which is a big hall or an open space. Then, when you are giving a open space or hall, then exemption will be allowed only if the charges per day are less than 10,000. If they are 10,000 or more, it is taxable. See, we are reading what is not covered in this exemption. Keep this in mind. We are reading what is not covered. So where it is 1,000 or more for rooms, where it is 10,000 or more for the hall, and where it is 10,000 or more per month if you are giving on rent the shop or spaces for business. So many times you will find that these religious places like mandirs, etc., within their premises, they have various shops and they have various rooms to stay, and all these are given on rent. So for room, if it is below 1,000, it is exempt. For shops, if it is below 10,000, it is exempt. The only difference is room 1,000 rupees is per day, shops 10,000 is per month. Correct? So this is again an important entry which you have to keep in mind. And I've tried to give you the real life examples. So even 1,000 is taxable. Keep this in mind because in the taxable point which we were reading now, if it is 1,000 or more, it is taxable. So it has to be 999. Up to 999 exempt, 1,000 taxable. In case of shops, 9,999 exempt, 10,000 taxable. Fine, students? Clear? Okay. Now we come to next entry number 60. It deals with what? Now there are some specified organizations, specified or I'll say appointed by the government. What they are doing is they are conducting religious pilgrimages under bilateral arrangement. Why? Because many times it is with different countries, like for Hajj, you have to go to Mecca, Medina. So our government of India has bilateral agreement with that country's government. Similarly, for Kailash Mansarovar, you have to go to a part in China. So our government has some bilateral agreement with China. But there are some specific bodies created. You have to pay the charges to them and they help you perform this religious pilgrimage. So those bodies are exempt. Here the names are given. Who are the bodies presently? So first body which is covered is Kumaon Vikas Mandal. So this is for that Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. And then the Hajj Committee of India, which is for the Mecca Medina visit, that is the Hajj. So when you are going on a religious pilgrimage and it is to be done in some other country, our government has done a bilateral agreement with those countries. And then these are the bodies you have to register over here. Only through them you can go there. They charge you something that charges exempt from GST under entry number 60. Then comes entry number 80. What does 80 covers? It covers services of training or coaching. Now this is interesting. Now it can be done by an individual also, or it can be done by a trust also. Now, what type of training done by individual is exempt? Recreational activities relating to some art or culture. Now, what is recreational? Recreation means other than education. So, recreation is something which you do as a time pass, as a hobby, for your enjoyment, for your entertainment. So, like singing, dancing. But if they are done in some art form, so if you're doing Western, it will not be exempt. But if you're going to a person who will teach you how to play flute, how to play piano, or how to play a tabla, a sitar, it is exempt. But if you're going to guitar classes or piano classes, that will not be exempt. But if it is a harmonium class, it will be exempt. So that is what is it should be relating to art or culture. And when it is a sports training academy, so now nowadays you have so many sports training academy coming up. Now you have for private persons also, like Sachin Tendulkar has, MS Dhoni has, Virendra Sehwag has. That is taxable. But if it is run by some charitable entities, again, who are registered at 12AA, and they are giving some sports training, that is exempt. So these are four services coming under the charitable category, and there are some specific requirements relating to each one of them. Students, I hope this entire entry is clear to everyone. Right? Done? No doubts? Yes, drawing is also covered. Pottery is covered. Painting is covered. Yes, you are correct. Perfect. All these are covered, students. Okay. So now we take a break. After the break, we go to the second category of activities, which are covered in the exemption, which is then now agriculture related services. Fine. Okay, students. Let us take a break. 15 minutes. Let us continue. Harshal beta, makeup is not covered. Na? Is it any art form? Answer is no. So the condition was it should be any art form, the training coaching. Makeup is not any art form, so it is not covered. Now, students, one very important point. When we talk about agriculture, what comes in front of your eyes is agricultural goods. Correct? Keep in mind, we are here not talking about exemption for the goods. That is part of the goods chapter of exemption, which is not our syllabus. And anyways, we studied at the start of this that wherever it is in unpacked form, the agricultural products in the raw and unpacked form, they are eligible for exemption, right? But here we are not talking about agricultural goods. We are talking about services for these goods. Like, for example, you can see here loading, unloading, packing. So keep this in mind. We are talking about services relating to these goods. But here, when you read this 54, they are referring to services relating to these goods. Now, how are these goods defined? Let us first understand that, because that reference will come. So it says services relating to all these things, which is agricultural goods. So what are agricultural goods? Let us understand, because this definition is important, because services relating to these goods are exempt. Now, what are agricultural goods or agricultural produce? So it has been defined again in this exemption notification to means goods which you get by cultivation of plants. Now, interestingly, since childhood, whenever we talked about agriculture, we studied about agriculture, whatever definitions at least I read, it said cultivation of land, right? And we have also always been like, even in the movies and all, here also in the image, you'll see that you are doing something on land. But interestingly, they have not used the word cultivation of land. Why? Because you even have plants in ponds, in lakes. So if you're doing anything where you are growing some plants, like you have this lotus, which is in lakes, you have this, which is promoted, it is a Bihar product and it is today an international brand, or Makhana. So these are not found on land. They are found in lakes and ponds. So even cultivation of those items is also covered in agriculture. So that is why here GST has taken a broader terminology by calling it as what type of goods which you get by cultivation of plants. First thing. Second, interestingly, now this is very different from income tax, because in income tax, when you read the definition of agriculture, it is relating only to cultivation of land. But GST covers one more thing in agriculture. Whatever output you get by rearing animals, except horses. Now, why are you rearing animals? It may be for food, like you get milk, you get meat, etc., or fiber. So like you get wool, etc. Fuel. So out of cow dung, we can make fuel, or raw material. So many of the outputs from animals become raw material for many final products. So interestingly, two things are covered in agricultural produce or agricultural goods. One, what you get from cultivation of plants, and second, what you get from animals in the form of food, fiber, fuel, raw materials, except horses. Now, what is very important is when these will be called as agricultural goods, both of these things, only when either if no processing is done on them, so they are completely in its original form in which they were grown or they were produced, or so either no further processing is done, or only that processing is done, which is usually done by its cultivator or producer, and which will not change the characteristics, and it is suitable for making it marketable for primary market. Now, this is very important. I'll give you an interesting example. Now, we all know dal. We all know chana. Now, when you see chana, what we get on the roadside also when we buy, it is both the sides of chana are stuck together and it is also having a coating. This is the original chana. However, when you see dal is not in this form. Generally, the dal we get, it is raw, it is uncooked, it is completely raw, but it is not having that chilka, it is not having that outer covering, and it is also not stuck, it is separated. Now, even this small process of removing the chilka and separation will make it non-agricultural. Why? Because these things are not done by the cultivators, they are done in some factory. Same thing with rice. Rice which is grown in the farm and the farmer does not remove the chilka or the husk, it is called as husk in English, of the rice. Plus the rice has slight brownish layer. So it goes to a mill, and after milling that brownish part is removed, so you can see the very white rice. Original rice is not very pure white, but some slight colored layer is there which is also removed. Now all these things are not done by the farmers. Hence, the moment any of these activities are done which are not done by farmers, that is cultivators, growers, your products is out of the agricultural produce definition. And the moment it is out of the agricultural produce definition, entry 54, which is the main entry for exemption, will not apply to you. So that is why this definition is important. So please understand, everything which is in raw form need not fit in the definition of agricultural produce. Correct? Sridhar beta, but wheat, what you get at home and what the farmer sells is the same. It may go to a factory, but what farmer is giving to and what comes to your house is same. Virashri, primary market means the market which is the wholesale market. We buy things from the secondary or even the tertiary market, which is from the retailer. Correct? So primary is the wholesale market where you and me generally do not go. Over there, farmers sell it. See, farmers will not come and sell to you because they cannot sell in 1 or 2 kgs. So farmers sell it to big traders. Right? Nisha beta, whatever you're not understanding, you can raise question, I will answer. I cannot repeat everything in Hindi because then it will be too lengthy, and the general flow of this is it has to be in English. You ask me a particular question, I'll answer you.
Sir, you told that cultivation and from animals or plant, except horses. But after that, what
No.
is written? No further processing or such processing. This I am not understanding, sir.
तो बेटा मैंने अभी एग्जांपल दिया, आप जब भी कुछ उगाते हो, उगाने के बाद अगर आप उसके ऊपर कोई भी काम करोगे, which is called as processing, करेक्ट?
Yes, sir.
ये हो गया उगाना, काटना. अब उसके बाद जैसे मैं एक सिंपल एग्जांपल देता हूँ, आपने हल्दी या जिंजर ये सब देखा रहेगा तो ये जमीन के नीचे होता है और इसके अंदर रूट्स रहते हैं. ओरिजिनल जिंजर जैसा घर पे आता है वैसा जब उगता है वैसा नहीं, उसमें रूट्स रहते हैं. तो क्या होता है, क्योंकि वो जमीन के नीचे से निकला है, उस पे मड भी लगी है, उसके रूट्स भी है, ये सब निकाल के वो हमारे पास आता है. अब ये एक प्रकार का प्रोसेसिंग हो गया. करेक्ट?
Yes, sir.
अब ये प्रोसेसिंग एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोड्यूस में तब तक अलाउड है जब तक ये प्रोसेसिंग कौन कर रहा है, फार्मर, उसका कल्टीवेटर. अगर इनमें से कोई भी प्रोसेसिंग के लिए वो किसी भी फैक्ट्री या मिल में जाता है और वहां पे वो प्रोसेसिंग होके फिर आपके पास आता है, भले अभी भी वो रॉ है, उसको तो आप घर पे आके कुक करके उसको फाइनल बनाओगे, पर अगर वो रॉ भी है, पर इट विल नॉट बी एन एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोड्यूस. तो आपको ये देखना है कि उस पर्टिकुलर प्रोड्यूस के लिए कौन से एक्टिविटीज या प्रोसेसेस फार्मर्स करते हैं, उतने प्रोसेस तक इट विल बी
एग्जाम्प्ट है।
एग्रीकल्चरल।
अगर सर कोई भी प्रोसेसिंग नहीं हो रही है तो
देन
फिर
ओनली
वो
इट
भी
इज
एग्जाम्प्ट है।
एग्रीकल्चर। सॉरी बेटा,
अगर मतलब किसी भी प्रोडक्ट पर कोई प्रोसेसिंग आफ्टर मतलब एग्रीकल्चर मतलब फार्मर्स के बाद कोई प्रोसेसिंग नहीं हो रही है तो वो एग्जाम्प्ट ही है। अगर
सी
कोई
अभी हम
प्रोसेसिंग हो
वापस
जाएगी।
सुनो सुनो, अभी हम एग्रीकल्चरल गुड्स के एग्जम्पशन को नहीं पढ़ने वाले। हम उनके लिए जो सर्विसेज हो रही है जैसे ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, पैकिंग, स्टोरिंग, हम उसका एग्जम्पशन पढ़ने वाले। पर ये सर्विस किसके लिए एग्जम्प्ट होंगी? अगर वो आपकी चीज एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोड्यूस है, और वो एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोड्यूस कब है? जब उसके ऊपर एक्स्ट्रा कोई भी प्रोसेसिंग नहीं हुआ।
ओके।
सो आपको पहले ये चेक करना है कि क्या वो चीज एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोड्यूस है, और वो कब होगी? जब उस पर कोई भी एक्स्ट्रा प्रोसेसिंग नहीं हुआ है, तो फिर वो चीज का पैकिंग, लोडिंग, ये सब कुछ एग्जम्प्ट हो जाएगा। राइट?
ओके। ओके।
करो बेटा, थ्रेशिंग ऑफ wheat is done by the farmer, so it remains agriculture. But the moment you make flour out of it, it is not done by farmer, so it is no more agriculture. But a removing of husk of rice is not agriculture because that is not done by farmer. Farmer sell it with husk only. Yes, Tanu, you are right. Yes, Nino. So students, you should know how different. See, for this, for understanding this, you will have to know the real market, which is not required at for exam level. But I'm giving you real life examples. Yes, Maithili.
Yes, sir. Sir, by way of my understanding, this you explained no further processing is done or such processing is done as usually done by cultivator, and the makes it marketable for primary market, and it does not alter its essential characteristics. So this is the primary market means first the product will be going to the market, that will be only exempt, then further it will be sell to the retailer and to the customer, it is taxable. Correct, sir? Or
See, beta, again, you are talking about exemption of the product, correct?
yes, sir.
But this entire chapter is exemption for services.
Yes,
So
sir.
we are not concerned whether that product is exempt or not. We are only concerned with whether that product fits in the definition of agricultural produce or not. Okay? If
Yes, sir.
that product fits in the definition of agricultural produce, then all these services which we are going to study now, what are these servicing? See, renting, leasing, loading, unloading, packing, all these services which are done for that product, those services will be exempt. See, one is exemption of that product when it is sold. We are not concerned with that. This chapter is not covering or going to talk about exemption of the product. The product may be taxable, the product may be exempt. We are not concerned with the product. Why we are reading the definition of agricultural product? Because for that product only, these services like, let us say, loading, unloading, packing, all these services, when done of that product, it is exempt. If it is done for
Yes,
product which is not agricultural produce, because see, so many products are getting stored, so many products are getting transported, so many products are getting packed, right?
yes, sir.
So we
So
are right
the
now
basic
talking about service. Yes,
yes, the
tell me.
basic characteristics of the product is changed. That's also taxable. That is not exempted.
Right. But we are not talking
Yes,
about exemption of product. We are talking about the services of that
yes,
product.
yes, sir. Understood.
Fine.
Yes, sir.
Clear? Any doubts? Yes, Diksha.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir. So
Good
I have
evening.
a
Tell me.
doubt कि जैसे कुछ हमें कोई क्वेश्चन आ गया कि ये एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट है और इसकी जो सर्विसेज है ये जीएसटी पे लागू होगा, तो हम उसको कैसे लिखेंगे कि हम मतलब कैसे प्रेजेंट करेंगे सर?
We will present like this. Following services on following services done on agricultural produce are exempt.
ओके.
What services? Packing of agricultural produce, storage of agricultural produce, loading, unloading of agricultural produce. So these services done on agricultural produce, yeah, done for agricultural produce is exempt.
And we need to write in the answers section number, entry number, and the main crux of the this entry.
The entry number is not very compulsory at your level. Yes, if
Okay.
you can remember, it is best. If not,
Okay,
you
sir.
can only simply say as per exemption notification, if these conditions are present, it will be exempt. Correct?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Clear?
Okay, sir.
Fine. Great. Fertilizers, beta, are, is it agriculture? Fertilizers are produced in factories, taxable. They are not agricultural produce. Seeds, again, if grown in factory, taxable. Seeds that you get directly from the crop itself, agricultural produce. Please understand, because these things are even produced in factory. Fertilizer is 100% taxable. It is not produced in, it is not grown. It is directly produced in factory. Sridhar, Meenu, why fertilizing use machine? Now see, machines are not exempt because machines are goods. Gaurav, if you are not yourself cultivating, still this exemption entry will apply. Correct, Gaurav? Marshall, your question is not clear to me. Okay, now we read the list of services. So loading, unloading, packing, storage of rice is exempt. Warehousing of minor forest produce is exempt. Now forest produce means whatever you get from forest like woods and all. But wood is major forest produce, means it is a big forest produce. So that is not covered in this point. Minor forest produce means like you get leaves. So certain trees leaves are very important. They are sold. So minor forest produce means leaves, small fruits, small seeds that you get on trees is what is covered here. Then what is exempt is storage, warehousing of what? Cereals, pulses, fruits, vegetables. Now comes 54, which is the main entry for agriculture. What it says? Services relating to cultivation of what plants? Rearing of life forms or animals except horses for food, fiber, etc. Or agricultural produce by way of. Now, what type of services are exempt? If you are doing the agricultural operation. Now, what is the example of this? So many times the owner of the land itself is not doing farming. He appoints some other person or he gives it for cultivation to some other person. So that other person is doing the agricultural operations for the landowner. What type of agricultural operations? Cultivating, harvesting, farming, and you pay charges for doing all these things. That is exempt. Then where you get farm labor, you hire a contractor who will give you workers to work on farm. The charges paid to the contractor are exempt. Then certain processes which are to be done on the land itself. That is where you have that crops at that place only. Some process like somebody had mentioned, you have to do threshing, you have to do cleaning. All these are covered. Now they have given you example of n number of such processes which is done on the farmland itself. Then you require different types of machinery. If you take those machinery on rent, like tractor and all, if you take those on rent, which is used on the farm, that is exempt. Plus the land, if you have taken on rent for farming, that rent of that farmland is also exempt. Then comes loading, unloading, packing, storage, or warehousing of agricultural produce. Then comes agriculture extension service. Now, what is agriculture extension service? So, to do your agriculture in much better form, nowadays there are various training, there are various type of experiments which are done. and through them you get something which helps you in getting your farming increased. So such activities are called as agriculture extension. So you get some testing done, you get some water testing done, seed testing done, soil testing done, so that you get to know what will be the best for your farm. So such services are called as agriculture extension. Then for selling your product, you have to go to this place, which is called as APMC. This is the market where you go and sell your agricultural produce. Now, you do not sell there directly. You have to appoint an agent. So this agent's commission is what is exempt over here. So 90% of our India's APMCs are working on agent model. So a farmer, whoever wants to sell his produce, has to compulsorily appoint an agent, and the agent charges some commission to the farmer. That commission is exempt. Similarly, if you have to carry out some intermediate process which is done as a job work, again that process is relating to what? Cultivation of plants, etc. That is exempt. And then next is service by way of artificial insemination of livestock. So it is what? It is artificial reproduction of livestock, again other than horses. So many times you'll see that farmers, they want to multiply their cattle, they want to multiply their cows and buffaloes so that they can be used in farming. So for that, there is like how we have test tube babies concept in humans. Similarly, you have artificial insemination for animals also. So whereby artificially the sperm is injected into the animal's womb so that they get babies. This is what is artificial insemination. Again, this service is what is made exempt. So these are the different services relating to agriculture and agricultural goods which will be exempt. Right? Clear? So they have given with examples, with pictures, so that you will understand what it covers. Now we come to something important. Now, till now, whatever exemptions we were seeing, they were all outward exemptions. Now, for the first time, we will see both exemptions for outward also and for inward also. Now, what is this? Firstly, you should be educational institute or institution. Now, who is educational institution? That we will see. Now, if you're an educational institution, then these two services, clause A, clause AA, it deals with your outward service. That will be exempt. And clause B deals with your inward service. Now, you can see both these are saying by education institution, and this is saying to educational institution. So your outward services by education institution, your inward services to educational institution. Right? Now, firstly, we have to understand who is an education institution, because here, for getting the exemption, you have to first fit in the definition of educational institution. Yes, Nisha beta, the entry is very clear. So it is relating only to one product beta. Dhanlakshmi, only rearing of animals, but not used for agriculture. Then also exempt. Yes, Dhanlakshmi. So here the condition is not that the animals should be used for agriculture. So even if you are rearing them, like let us say you are running a poultry farm where you rear these hen, or maybe you are rearing goats only for the purpose of selling them, that is also covered. Yes. Perfect. Good question, students. Now, before we go to the inward and outward exemptions, what are exempt inward and outward, we have to first understand what is educational institution, right? So there is one decision by Honorable Supreme Court which says that education is the process of training and developing knowledge, skill, character of students, etc. But this is not important for us. This is just given for your understanding. What is important is this. We have to first understand who is called as an education institution. Because in this entry, what is very important is the person. Till now, the person was not very important. It was the nature of the service which was more important. Now here, the person is also important. Now, who is educational institution? Let us understand. So first, you have to know that they have covered preschools up to your standard 12th. So we all understand what are preschools. So preschools are before your first grade. So it is lower KG, nursery. In fact, nowadays you have kindergarten. That is preschool up to standard 12. So first part is this. Second part is the graduation and post-graduation. So they are saying education which is as per some curriculum for obtaining a qualification. So you obtain qualification where? In graduation and post-graduation. So let us say these are your colleges. So this is up to school. So school is an education institution, right? Second is colleges. And third comes some approved vocational education institutes like ITI, Industrial Training Institute. Now, these are providing vocational. Now, what is vocational? Vocation is skill-based education. See, in our schools and colleges, we are having academic education, where we study books, where we study and get a lot of information and knowledge about various subjects. In vocational education, you do all practical, like you learn the plumbing work, you learn the electrification work. So that is what is vocational, where it is some skill-based work that you learn. So carpentry work, painting work, all these are vocational. No, beta, Maithili, will come to that point. Fine. Clear, students? Very good, Diksha. Now, some very important points. So how the definition of education institution goes? It says that institution which is doing one of the things. So schools. Now important is for school, it may be national or even international. Like you have the IGE schools, which are UK board, right? So even international board schools are covered. However, when it comes to college, it only covers national, not international. Now, how? It says qualification recognized by law. Which law? Law in India. Now, we do not recognize other countries' qualification in India. So that is why if there is any international board college in India, that is not covered in education institution, so they are not eligible for exemption. But if there is any international board school, so you are doing up to 12th standard qualification by some international board, and you have such schools in very big cities of India like Hyderabad, like Bangalore, like maybe Maharashtra, you'll have it in Bombay, Pune, then in Chennai, maybe in Ahmedabad. In all these places, you have certain schools which are running international boards, IGCE something. See, what are our national boards? That is SSC, CBSC, and ICAI. But the others are international board schools. They are also eligible. ICSE is our national bidder. It is not international. So what you have to keep in mind, schools, all types are covered. Colleges, only national colleges covering national courses, not international courses. They are not eligible for exemption. I hope firstly this is clear to all, right? So this is see what is explained here also. Clause 2, it says what? Education as a part of curriculum for obtaining qualification recognized by law means education delivered as a part of curriculum obtaining qualification prescribed by law. in view of same, it can be inferred that. Now here they have explained. Conduct of degree courses by college, university or institutions, yes. Training given by private coaching, no. Education as a part of curriculum for obtaining qualification recognized by law of a foreign country, no. So private coaching are not covered because they are neither school nor college. And those colleges which are providing qualification but which is not recognized in India but recognized outside India because they are running some foreign qualification courses, they are not covered. Now, once you have understood who are education institutions, so schools, both national and international, college, only national course or qualification granting college, and vocational institutes like ITIs. These three are only covered in education institutions. Now, these two are their outward services, which are exempt, and B is their inward service, which is exempt. Correct? Now, Dhanalakshmi, give me example of what you are saying. I don't know. You are saying alternative education. I don't know what it is. See, it is not necessary that you should go to school only. Even nowadays, I am hearing there is something like home study schools. They are covered. Yes, so they are covered because they are very much part of our curriculum. They are recognized as schools. See, understand one thing. How you come to know that whether they are recognized or not. Open schools are also covered, beta. Because if they are not recognized as schools, let us say, then their 10th and 12th qualification will not be considered valid. And tomorrow, if you want to do graduation, you are not allowed to do graduation. So, but these, what you are saying, somebody said open schools, somebody said homeschooling, all these are eligible. What are dummy schools? But I don't know dummy school. I'm hearing this for the first time. Online, no problem. Now, many things have become online. What is Navodaya, Aditya? I don't know. See, only if it is private coaching, it is not covered. See, ITI, once it is recognized by government, Samiran, whether it is run by a private person, makes no difference. The condition for ITI we will study it is that it should be recognized. The ITI course should be recognized by government. Even if it is run by a private person, makes no difference. See, even in case of schools, there are so many private schools. Makes no difference whether it is a private school or a government school or an NGO school. So far as it is a school running any of the courses, maybe national or international, they all are covered. Meenu Kumari, see, if you're not going to school, see, one is you prepare from outside for the board exams. In that case, if you are preparing from outside, it means you have not taken admission to any school. Where you have taken admission is the private coaching class. That is what is taxable. Fine. Now, let us students come back. Now, you all have so many examples on schools. That is good. So, beta Gaurav, UGC is part of national. No? UGC is not international. Okay. Now, what is the exam? This is important. So now you understand school, college. What is exempt is in outward, all services given to whom? Given to either your students or your faculty or your staff. Now this is important. All services. So it may be directly education or it may be extracurricular. Whatever the school college gives to its students or to its faculty, like many times if it is some boarding school, you are given accommodation, you are given food, all these things given either to students or to their teachers or to their other staff is fully exempt. So on outward side, there is no list given of what is exempt. It says any service given to its student, faculty, staff. In AA, what is covered is entrance exam. So many times you give entrance exam of various colleges, schools. So the fees charged for giving the entrance exam is also exempt. So what is exempt? This entrance exam fees. So two things on the outward side of the education institution is exempt. Now on the inward side, there are 5 specific activities like transportation of students. So all these schools, colleges, many times they do not have their own buses. They hire the buses from outside for giving transportation to students. Then the food which is given in school either by way of catering or midday meals, many times the school themselves are not cooking and giving. They are directly giving contract to caterers. Then for security, again, school takes services of some security agency. So you have all these security guards who are stationed inside and outside the school. Then you have the cleaning staff. Then you have all the housekeeping staff. Interestingly, what else is covered is services relating to admission or conduct of exam. Nowadays, many schools are hiring specialized agencies for conducting their exams. And last is providing online journals or periodicals. Now, when school colleges take these inward services, they are exempt. However, the interesting part is, now see, in education institution, we have 3 types of people: schools, all national, international; colleges, only national; and vocational training institutes. Now, there are 3 types of educational institution and there are 5 inward services. Now, there is an interesting bifurcation as to which inward service is exempt to whom. So all 5 services are not exempt to schools or to colleges. There is a list or a beautiful table given in our module. See. Now, out of those 5 services, which services are exempt to schools? So transportation of students, catering, security cleaning, and services relating to admission or conduct of exams. So the 5th service, which is online journals, is not covered here. For colleges, what is covered? Admission and exam and the online journal. So here what is not covered? Transportation, catering, security, these are not covered. And for IITs, ITIs, that is approved vocational education course, only services relating to admission or conduct of exam is covered. So inward you have 5 services. Out of 5, 4 are covered or applicable to schools, 2 are applicable to college, and only 1 is applicable to the vocational training institutes. So this is very important to be kept in mind as to which inward service is exempt to. I hope this part is clear to everyone, because this part is not uh, like everything is exempt on the inward side. Only specific services are exempt. That also, to whom which service is exempt is to be understood. Yes, Akhila, you're right. Karma, what you say, UA AI challenge. What is that? What is that? I don't know, but a UA AI challenge is what? Yes, Gaurav. So all these inward services, what we just studied, when a school receives those 4 inward services, they are fully exempt. So no GST on those 4 inward services received by school. Similarly, when college receives these 2 inward services, fully exempt for college. And when ITI or these type of vocational training institute receive that one service, it is fully exempt. Correct? Now coming to the point, whether ICAI is exempt, if yes, under which category? First, second, third. Answer is ICAI is covered under the second category. So we are running a course which is recognized by law, because CA course is recognized by our law. In fact, the institute is created as per the Act of Parliament. So ICAI is covered in the second category, students. What am I saying? Recently, online AI course challenge initiated by Government of India that we have to see whether it is fitting in the third category. It is definitely not fitting in first and second. And as far as I know, till now, it is not even fitting in third. See, AI is something very new, the course on AI. Maybe in future, it will get covered in the third category. Fine. Karma beta. So students, these are the important pointers relating to education. Please read all these examples given. They are very important when it comes to exam because your exam pointers will cover one of these cases only what are given. So here they have covered small examples. So these are what you have to just read. And for inward service, just keep in mind this table. Very important table, students. Fine. Okay. Now we come to the next category, healthcare, but this is vast. We will not be able to cover it today. Right? So I'll just skip this because this will require good amount of time that we'll do in the next class. Let me take smaller ones. Yes, services provided by government. Now, government is included in person. Government's activities also included in business. So because of all this, government firstly fits in the GST. Now, everything that the government do cannot be made taxable because many things the government is doing as a function for which the government is created. So those are exempted over here. So what are exempted? Services given by government authority. What type of services? Services in relation to functions which are given to municipality. Now, where are these written? What are the functions of municipality? They are written in Article 243W of the Constitution. So whenever any of these functions are done by the government, like if you see, you will find in your area early morning, somebody comes to clean the streets. Then regularly, you have a garbage van coming to your society for collecting garbage, right? Then street lights. All these are the functions of municipality. Similarly, what services again are exempt? Again, which are by way of those functions now which are given to panchayat. And where these functions are written? They are written in 243G of the Constitution. So in fact, we have now, I think, 2 or 3 web series. One itself is named as Panchayat and the other two, I don't remember the names. In that, you have seen that office, Panchayat office. So Panchayat also does various type of functions, which is at the village level. So all those services which are done by a governmental authority, and those services are either functions of municipality or panchayat, they are fully exempt. Correct? Yes. So sewage treatment or wastewater treatment, all these are the functions of municipality. You're right, Veda. Then, now this point is important. Now they are saying services done by government, central, state, union territory, local authority, except the following. So except these services, all other services are exempt. It means this list of services are taxable. Please keep this in mind. So first is services given by the Department of Post. Now we are going to see another exemption in that. So within Post also, why they have removed it from here? Because later on further we will find that up to some limit that is exempt. But firstly, services of Department of Post is exempt. Then services in relation to aircraft or vessels which is inside, outside the port or airport. So the government charges to every flight that is landing or taking off certain charges. So those are exempt. Then where the government is doing any goods or passenger transport service, that is what is exempt. And services other than the above three, what we just read, when it is given to businesses, that is also what is exempt. Okay. Sir, why have you written taxable? Manisha beta, so because that is what is I'm trying to explain. Please read what it is saying. Now we are reading exemption. It is saying what? Excluding. So they are saying excluding these services, remaining services are exempt. So it means these are taxable, na? Please read. So services of postal department, services given in relation to aircraft vessel, services of transportation for passengers, etc. But again, we will read some separate exemption entry later. Now, what we read at the last, where services given to business entities, that is taxable. Now, for business entities also, they have said that if it is a small business entity, it is exempt. So where services are given to small business entity by the government, it is exempt. Who is a small business entity? Whose aggregate turnover is not making it liable for registration. It means its turnover is so less that they are not liable for registration. Such entities are called as small entities. So those entities who are exempted from registration are called as small entities. Next, where the consideration of service is not exceeding 5,000. So where the government gives any service which is of a very low amount, less than 5,000, that is also exempt. Next, where one government is providing service to another government department. So within government also you have multiple departments, or let us say center is giving to state or state is giving to center. So within government, when they are giving services to one another, that is also exempt. Next, wherever there is grants given for carrying out different activities, that is exempt. Now this is important. Now we saw something relating to old age home at the start, but that was by trust. Now here, what they are saying, where government is running a old age home or a trust is also running a old age home, and it is for those people who are resident. Resident are what? 60 years or more. That is senior citizen. Obviously, for them only have old age home, and the amount charged is not exceeding 25,000 per month per person. So where the per month charges are up to 25,000 and such old age home is run by either government or by trust, it is exempt. Next, services given by Ministry of Railways, but what service? Only platform tickets, then giving you the waiting room, giving you the clock room where you can keep your luggage, or giving you the battery operated service. Nowadays, many stations have these services. These are exempt. Then services provided by one zone under the Ministry of Railway to another zone. So again, you know, like how our ICAI is divided into northern region, southern region, eastern region, western region, central region. Similarly, railways are also divided on the same lines. So we have the northern railways, we have the western railways, we have the eastern railways. So when one zone gives services to another, that is also exempt. Now, we just read about that post is giving services which are taxable. However, in that some are exempt. So what services of Department of Post are exempt? So you purchase postcard, you purchase inland letters, or you send ordinary post where the weight of your that envelope is less than 10 grams. All these are exempt. Then services given by central state governments to whom? To their own public sector undertakings. So we all know we have PSUs, that is government companies. So where government is giving to their PSUs some type of service, what is that service? Guaranteeing their loans. So that bank can give huge amount of loans to them. So government gives them guarantee. That is what is exempt. Next, services given by the government. What type of services? Registration. Now, under various acts, you have to take registration for which there are some charges. So when government is charging you for registration and that registration is under any law, that registration fees is exempt. Similarly, where you have to do some testing, calibration, safety check for which you require a certificate. Like for example, even for our cars, we do the what did you say? PUC, pollution under control certificate. So for these certifications, you have to do some testing, some safety check, etc. Or let us say, if you're running a restaurant, you require fire license certificate. So for all these certifications, whatever government department charges, so either for registration, what they are charging, or for certification, what they are charging is exempt. Second, you go for getting passport, visa, driving license, birth or death certificates. Again, there is a charge that is exempt. Then, whenever the government charges you any fines or liquidated damages, why? Because you did not perform some of the conditions. So you entered into some contract with the government where there were certain conditions, you don't fulfill them. So it is a breach of contract, for which the Contract Act provides for fines and liquidated damages. But if you are paying these fines and damages to government, it is exempt. This you can ignore. It is right now not relevant. Next, where you pay extra charges so that government officers are appointed for your work and they are working either after office hours or on holidays. Generally, this happens in the customs department. So if you have some urgent consignment to be cleared, and let us say there are back-to-back 3 days holidays, within that time your consignment may get spoiled or you may miss a good opportunity of selling them in the market, you pay extra fees and the custom officers will work for you even extra time, or they will even come on the holidays to get the consignment clear. These services are also exempt. This is also not relevant now. And last is services provided by rehabilitation professionals who are recognized under the Rehabilitation Council of the India Act. So these are some specialized professionals who get the certificate of working as a rehabilitation professionals under this particular act. So whatever they are charging, that is what is exempt. Now, out of this, only starting 3 entries are relevant for government, but still I explained all of them to you all. What is relevant to you is this, obviously both are similar, and then this one, or let us say this one also. So only these 4 or 5 entries you need to keep in mind relating to government. So with this, students, we conclude today's session. I'm sure you all understood most of it, but it is again required that you keep on reading. Please read all these entries in detail from the module. In case any part of the module is not understood, you can always ask me in the next class. Yes, Sushmita, madam. Sushmita. Okay.
Yes, sir. I had a doubt in the previous chapter. Can I ask it now?
Sure, better. But then let me just complete this.
Okay, sir.
So students, please read all the entries, whatever we discuss in class. Module has given you very beautiful examples and many minute detailings in that. Please read, and wherever you have a challenge, you can ask me, right? Yes, Maithili, tell me.
Yes, sir. For me also, previous chapter I have one doubt.
So just let me see if students are having any doubts in the present lecture, or else we'll take your doubts of the previous lecture, previous topic. Just wait for a minute.
Yes, sir.
Students, anybody has any questions with whatever we have studied today? Again, I repeat, you have to read from the module so that if there is any query, doubts, you can ask me in the next class. Okay, Sushmita, go ahead. What is your query of the previous topic, beta?
Sir, when we were studying section 12, subsection 3, right, where we are reading on the immovable property, the lodging and accommodation and everything, there we are saying that the place of supply will be, if it is going outside India, there is a proviso given there. So if it is going outside India, we're saying that the location of recipient is the place of supply.
Correct.
Right. What if we do not have the location of supply available with the in the records?
But beta, there is no condition that the recipient's location should be available on record. Then anyways, if it is immovable property, it will be easy to find out the recipient. Huh? So that is why they have not put that condition. See, that condition is only there in few of the entries. Like firstly, it has reference in your general default entry. And then in few more entries where the condition is that the location of recipient should be on record. But in case of immovable, that is not the requirement.
So, like in boat or a vessel where it is going out of India, there also we would not have it, is it?
See, beta, but remember one thing. If you are saying it is going out of India, visa will be there. So automatically
Visa,
the
huh?
details of
Okay.
the recipient will come to you.
Yes, sir.
So once it is
Okay.
outside India, there will be something visa or something because of which the recipient's details will come to you. So don't worry,
Okay. Okay, sir.
right?
Thank you.
Student, just give me a minute. I'll just be back in a minute. Yes, Maithili, you can ask your question.
Yes, sir. My doubt is about supply of services under Section 12, subsection 14, advertisement services. One example for hoarding of buses. That is, recipient is in Karnataka, and location of supplier is in Tamil Nadu. So the recipient is registered office in Karnataka. Also, the location of supplier also registered office in Tamil Nadu. So my doubt is, in this case, this is interstate supply or intrastate supply, sir? The
Okay.
place
So
of
see,
supply also
what is the
Salem.
place of supply? First, you tell me. As per 1214, what is the place of supply?
Holding of business is running in Tamil Nadu. So place of supply is Tamil Nadu.
No, no. So where you have put this? You have put this in buses, right? Are buses running only in Tamil Nadu or they are running between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka?
Which is running between Salem to Dharmaburi and these regions. Not
Means it is
going for
only in Tamil Nadu, right?
yes, sir. Sometimes it will go for no Salem buses only.
So simple. We'll take both examples. So let us say the buses are moving to different parts within Tamil Nadu. So the place of supply is Tamil Nadu as per 1214. But if the buses are moving between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, then we have to proportionate that using the distance, how much it has traveled in Karnataka and how much it has traveled outside Karnataka, in Tamil Nadu. On that basis, we have to proportionate it.
Okay, sir. But in billing purpose, we need to put CGST and SGST or IGST, sir.
So supplier is from which place, beta?
Supplier is Salem, Tamil Nadu.
Tamil Nadu. And place of supply is also Tamil Nadu. So C plus S.
Okay, but recipient is in Karnataka. But
Beta, why you are
in that
looking
case,
at recipient? What is our rule? You all again are
place
mixing. What
of
is our rule
supply.
of deciding the tax? You have to see location of
Place
supply.
of
You have to see place of supply. You
okay.
don't have to see recipient. Recipient
Okay,
can be
then we
from
need to
anywhere.
give the okay. Then we need to give the bills to Karnataka recipient as a CGST and
Yes,
SGST bill.
yes, that will
Okay.
happen always. You don't have to look at the recipient. Only where the law says the recipient is place of supply, only then you have to look at the recipient. Like in case of 12.3, where you are going and staying in hotel. Let us say you are in Tamil Nadu. You come to Mumbai, Maharashtra and stay in a hotel in Mumbai, Maharashtra. The hotel wala will give you a CGST, SGST invoice only, even though you tell him that I am from Tamil Nadu, you give your address, still he will charge CGST, SGST. Because for charging or deciding the nature of tax, we don't look at recipient, we look at place of supply.
Yes, sir. So if anybody wrongly given the bill for IGST, then
Then
it
they will
will
have to
be
do correction in future. They have to do correction in future. Either they will themselves do it, or the department, whenever in audit they will check, they will tell them to do it.
the correction is also available to make in GST, yes, sir.
Yes. So in future returns you can do correction. There is a time limit within which you can do the correction.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes,
Fine.
sir. Understood. Yes, sir. Fine. Fine. Thank you.
Yes, Nisha, beta.
Sir, there are so many means section how we can retain, sir,
But you
for
have to
long
keep
time.
on repeating it again and again.
And sir, only means at the revision only we can refer to the tables only which we are that are given in the starting.
Beta, you come to the last part of module. In last part, our module has beautifully given, let us recapitulate. So they have given everything in short. So in class, we are understanding everything in detail so that you understand the whole subject in detail. But for revision, you can refer to that, let us recapitulate given at the end of our module, every chapter.
Because
That will make
because
your,
sir, all the things just for me, we can't remember all the things, but
but
main
that is
main
with
points.
everyone. Na? So that's why I'm saying. So it is not only with you. Everybody present over here, nobody can remember everything. Anyways, what is the passing requirement in exam? 40 marks for that subject.
Yes, sir.
Because institute also knows it is practically impossible to remember everything, right? So
Yes,
don't
sir.
take that much burden. Try to be conceptually clear and try to keep on revising. You may remember 50, 60, 70%. That is sufficient to pass.
Okay, okay, sir.
And nobody, not only you, nobody, including me, can remember everything, right? That also from every
Because see,
subject.
now you explain agriculture, so in analysis it is too much means explanation is given, so we can just means if in case we have any doubt we can just ask you, but we can't means overall we can't remember it, just table we can remember it
So that is where you have
for
to take your own
exam.
short notes. Like how I'm marking something, how I'm writing something. You have to make your own short notes, beta. The best way of remembering
Yes,
lengthy
sir.
things is making your own short notes. Second, our institute has given the short notes in the module at the end. You can use them or you can create your own short notes. Correct?
Okay, okay, sir.
Yeah. Yes, then Lakshmi.
Uh, sir,
Yeah, please tell me.
uh, sir, in the place of supply, sir, under the advertisement, when
Hmm.
the advertisement companies gives a service, sir,
Hmm.
um, so the place of supply is where the structure is located. Am I right,
This
sir?
is only where the service is given to government.
Okay. When a
Yes.
service is given to other persons, sir, it is
Then
like
there is no specific rule. So you go to the general rule 12.2,
general rule 12 means only to the government company it comes where the structure is
12.14.
located.
Yes.
Okay,
Where the
okay.
advertisement is done.
For rest all is 12
12.2.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, Karishma.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
So
Karishma, tell me.
I have the same doubt as Nisha asked. Like the subject is very overwhelming. There are many pointers and many things are included, then not included, exemption. But yes, you have already answered that. So
Okay.
yes, we have to revise. And I think,
But see, for
uh,
any
yeah.
learning subject, even for practical subjects, the only Guru Mantra is revision. The more you revise, the more you practice, you will be able to manage it well.
The second point
Right?
is, sir, I am a working student, so most of the time I see your lectures on YouTube recorded. So it is not possible for me to attend live.
No problem. So whenever you can join, you join and ask your queries of any previous chapter. We are there to answer your queries. Don't worry for that. We will answer you. Nobody will say no, faculty will say no. So let us say if you cannot join at 6, but once you come back at 7, 7:30, you can join for that much time. At least some part you'll understand live and then you can ask your query of any previous topic which you have not understood doing it from the YouTube or online.
Mhm. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Also in chat, somebody asked me, ki, sir, how to write answers. Better just, I'll request at the end, they have given questions and answers. That is the way how you are expected to write in exam. So just follow that mechanism, Bida. So first is conceptual clarity. Second is understanding the question what is asked. And third is how to present. That part is given in our module itself at the end where they are giving hint answers, right? So somebody, I think
Hello, sir.
Sridhar asked. Yes, Diksha, tell me.
Sir, some short note is given at the end of the chapter is sufficient to learn, or it's better
See,
to
Bida,
learn from this?
it is always recommended that you make your own short notes, right? But let us say
Oh,
where you are not able to make it or it is you are not having sufficient time. So for that, our institute is helping you by providing that short notes. Now you cannot say that, see, any short notes is not sufficient because when you go to put it short, you will not write something only, it will be short, right?
yes, sir.
So short cannot match with the detail one. Na? So detail one will have many things. But still, for all exam purposes, right from our childhood, we have been doing this. So
Yes,
that is a
sir.
part and parcel of the technique of doing this, right?
Okay, sir.
Yes. Yes,
Sir,
Nisha.
sir, I have a doubt of place of supply. So section 12 of 4 that relate to restaurant catering beauty treatment. So
Hmm.
means your example was Alu Arjun means they means for supply for clothing वगैरह in Delhi it was given, but
Hmm.
he has in Assam his shoot was there.
Hmm.
So in this case means we have to see where the means जहाँ पर शूटिंग हुई है वहां पर हमको मतलब देखना है वहां पे टैक्स लगाना है. तो
Correct.
सर हमको रेसिपिएंट को देखना है या सप्लायर मतलब कौन पे करेगा सर आसाम पे मतलब.
सप्लायर ही पे करता है ना बेटा. जब तक आरसीएम का ट्रांजेक्शन नहीं तब तक सप्लायर ही पे करने वाला है.
तो सर
So it is
इसमें
the supplier who has
इंटरस्टेट
to collect.
दिल्ली
Sorry.
और आसाम इंटरस्टेट सप्लाई लगेगा.
Correct. You're right. 100% right. फिर अब उसमें सवाल क्या है?
सर यही एक बार मैं कंफर्म आपसे कर रही थी कि.
Yes, you're right. Perfectly right, बेटा.
ओके सर.
Yes, students. Any further query, students?
नीला ड्राम ही बनाए नीला ड्राम
Okay, then I think we have completed with all the queries. So yes, thank you, but keep reading. There are too many things, as you all rightly expressed your concern. But for that, firstly, understanding is the first step, then learning comes. So first make your understanding clear by reading them from module and getting the doubts cleared in our live lectures. So thank you, students. Thank you very much. Let us connect again for the next part of this chapter. Till then, keep reading. Good day. Yes, sir. Done. Thank you.